Newcastle United get this First Division game underway in their famous striped shirts. Spurs in a change strip this afternoon of all yellow. Newcastle, who started disastrously last Saturday with a 4-0 defeat at Everton. They got on the wrong side of a Tony Cottee hat-trick and indeed were a goal down in the first 30 seconds of the season. Spurs didn't play because of problems with their ground refurbishments, so this really is their opening match of a new season. Times changing so much at St James's Park with a magnificent new stand which costs some £5 million. Bobby Mims with the goal kick for Tottenham. Two Tottenham players going for it, none getting it. Anderson planting it forward again towards the former Harder Midlothian player John Robertson. Darren Jackson with the throw. Anderson, Jackson. Some elbows there from Mitchell Thomas. And another free kick which could provide some sort of danger, although Newcastle, to be honest, are short of 6-footers in their side. Although up from the back now are both Scott and Thorne. Anderson with the cross. No, he hasn't got it in yet. No, plays it short instead to Bogey. Played in a difficult ball there. Spurs in trouble. And it's gone in with the number 6, Andy Thorne. Gets his first goal for Newcastle. And the Spurs defence in total disarray. A dreadful goal for Tottenham to concede. As the ball was played in there, nobody went for it, and it's the number 6, Andy Thorne, a former Wimbledon player. They stood looking, those yellow shirts, while Thorne reacted. 5 minutes gone, Newcastle in the lead. Walsh. Oh, he's checked his man nicely. Walsh. Oh, some good work by Bessel. It looked almost a formality for Waddle as he came in after some excellent work by Walsh. But the long reach of the 6'4" Newcastle goalkeeper denied Spurs there. Some good work here by Walsh. And he played a good ball in there, and it looked as though it might be easy for Waddle. Newcastle bench. Ball at the far end there, the manager, former goalkeeper here of Newcastle, of course. Foul by Scott. Oh, indeed, a foul by Spurs. Free kick to Newcastle again by Paul Walsh. The goal scorer, Andy Thorne. And the referee calling Paul Walsh to him, obviously for something that was said. So Walsh's name now goes into the book. Pinnock already booked, Walsh booked, and Spurs a goal down. An unhappy journey at the moment up to the northeast for the London side. Thorne with the kick. Hit long again. Fairclough underneath it. Michael O'Neill, Wharton, Ian Bogey, stopped by Fairclough, Creary, in really dominant form at the moment, Newcastle, and with men over on this side as well. This is Henry, cross coming in, and Darren Jackson! It's two, an almost replica of the first goal, as Spurs stand watching again as the ball crosses their 6-yard area, and Darren Jackson thumped it joyfully into the back of the net to put Newcastle 2 up. There he goes. the Mims. Ball ballooning the back of the net again. That's a really good cross again here by Hendry, tempting the defence. Spurs left watching again as the man on the far side gets in and grabs it, and at the other end does the same. Newcastle leading by 2 goals to 0. Robertson losing out to Statham. The referee saying that was too fully tackle there, and offers Newcastle United a free kick. So Wharton will take this free kick for Newcastle. O'Neill's on hand as well. Michael O'Neill chipping it forward. And shot just wide by Hendry. And Spurs so close to conceding goal number 3. They were almost caught out by the quick thinking work of John Hendry. Half-time whistle. Great first half in Newcastle, and the Spurs go up to the dressing room, trailing to goals by Andy Thorne and Darren Jackson. Spurs must know they've been outthought and outshot in that first half, that Newcastle thoroughly deserved that lead. Half-time score then at St James's Park as the rain now starts to come down. It's Newcastle United 2, Tottenham Hotspur 0. So Spurs then with plenty to do, get this second half underway, attacking the goal to our right. Here's Paul Walsh, who had a really lively first half, and Waddle is almost through! And Spurs, in a matter of 10 seconds at the start of the second half, have got themselves back in the game. A sensational start to the second period. And Chris Waddle, the former Newcastle hero, is the man after a good run here by Walsh, who has got Tottenham back into this match. He fought off all challengers. As he fell, he whacked the ball wide of Besant. And Spurs are back in this match. 10 seconds at the start of the second half. Bennett to Thomas. Jackson losing out to Mitchell Thomas. There's some space on the far side for Waddle. And how well he's used it. Getting away from Craig, but his shot was charged down by Thorne. Given away by Craig. Spurs going about their business with more conviction now. And this could be a chance. Kicked off the line by Wharton as Walsh came in. Walsh, a lovely little turn, jinking away, and the shot really didn't have enough power, and in any case was directed straight at Andy Thorne. But Walsh has looked as good as anybody in the Tottenham side, and it was he, of course, who made the running for Waddle's goal in that dramatic start to the second half. And Waddle at last will get to take the corner. Walsh coming off his man beautifully, Waddle turning it in again, and Phoenix is there! And Spurs are level! From these parts, who's been booked earlier in the game, taking the cross from Waddle with a firm header wide of Besant, and we're now at 2-2. Great comeback by Tottenham, and questions now to be answered about not only Newcastle in defence, but what their temperament will be now when a game that looked to be so much going their way could now be snatched from them. A good interception by John Humphrey. Paul Williams.
full of running and confidence this season. Taken to the first division well, and he crossed well there. He's got a second attempt, and put out this time by Besant. Paul Williams making his presence felt. Only 5'7", but he takes on Thorne, goes past him well. Cornwell got the foot in, and the second time Besant beats it out for the corner. Williams keeps getting away down that side. He's got Thorne to beat again, and he's beaten him and the keeper, but not the post. Cornwell. Well, he is a find, this lad. Unlucky. Humphrey. Formidable challenge from Kevin Scott, but free kick is given. Steve Gritt to take it. Humphrey. Header not really cleared by Scott. Here's Mark Stewart. Cornwell the defender. Oh, he's beaten him comprehensively. Nice little cross. Two men there, Leeburn and Williams, both beaten by a whisker. Not good work by Mark Stewart here. Leaves Cornwell on his backside. Looks up. Plays the cross well. Just inches. Unlucky there. John Hendry is number 7. It's not a very effective clearance, but it'll just about do the job. It's come to Leeburn. Crowd didn't like it. Nor, for that matter, we can say did Carl Leeburn, nor indeed Mike Reid, the referee. Well, caught him after he played the ball, and I think the yellow card was inevitable. Cornwell, first touch lets him down. Mackenzie for Charlton. Well, that's nicely done for Gritt, and a nicely weighted ball for Leeburn. Oh, he tried somehow to put an extra stride in there. I think maybe it was first touch problem. Carl Leeburn still learning first division football. Beautifully weighted ball. Cornwell on the wrong side of him. I think may actually have put a hand in his back, but the effect is that Besant has the ball. Clever little dummy from Mark Reid, but no profit. Cornwell. Oh, giving it away. Williams to Leeburn. Tried to give it back. Cleared by Scott. Now Paul Stevenson. Mirandinha available. Oh, nutmeg. You enjoyed that. Andy has a go. Andy was close. Now he barely stepped out of the centre circle. But he shoots from any angle and any range. And that time he was well on target. Good save. Nicely tidied up for Newcastle. They've lost it again. Mackenzie. Williams pushed in the back by McCreary. I think just ran into him. Leeburn. Williams, McCreary with him. And it's gone off Besant's legs. And on the stroke of half-time, Charlton have taken the lead. Paul Williams, to his credit, having been almost knocked flat by McCreary, kept going. McCreary tracked him back, couldn't stop him, and Besant couldn't stop the ball. Another one of those long balls downfield for which Besant was famous in his Wimbledon days. Ball coming back at him. Leeburn. And Wharton, and Besant had to smuggle it away with his legs. He wasn't done any favours at all by his fullback there. Mackenzie with time to look. Nobody really there, but Andy Thorne was not inclined to take any chances. An artful little ball into the box. Towards the near post, headed away by Scott. Gritt. Calls for handball, not given. Paul Miller. Paul Miller has been called over to the referee. Now, I wonder what we have here. My impression was that Paul Miller actually spat at an opponent, and if he did, that's a sending off offence, yes. Spitting is violent conduct, and he has to go. A lot of booing from the crowd, who may have missed the actual incident, but Mr. Reid, if that's what it was, has taken the appropriate action. And Charlton are a goal up and a man short. Forward by Lee, chased by Williams. It looked a pretty good tackle from Kevin Scott, although the crowd are a bit incensed. It may bear a second look. Now Williams has got a yard on Scott. I think Scott may just have got the ball first. It was very marginal. Referee let it go. Scott doing good work for a central defender here. Now John Robertson takes over. John Henry stopped very well by Bob Boulder. Both the goalkeepers have been having to use their bodies as much as their hands, and they've been exemplary in the way they've done it. Double substitution this will be. Bogey and Tinian coming on for Cornwell and Robertson. Bogey in 12. Morandinha. Kenny Wharton down this side. Didn't want to take it on. Oh, it's not very positive defending, and Wharton gets a second chance. Good looking cross, and Jackson gets an easy goal. That wasn't very good defending by Charlton. Darren Jackson makes it 1-1. Wharton had time to look up, flip the cross. Boulder couldn't get it. Mark Reid couldn't get it. Jackson did. His second of the season. 1-1. Supporters from Brazil on time making their presence felt. And Peter Shirtliff brings down Darren Jackson. Now it's going to be interesting to see what kind of action Mr. Reid takes here. Jackson apparently none the worse for it, but it wasn't a very pretty challenge. Got him left and right. Scott. Wharton, McCreary. Newcastle, having got their first away goal of the season, have a point. Wondering whether they can turn it into 3. Mirandinha. Oh, and he's found a man. Tinian. No offside, and the goal stands. It all been drawn towards Mirandinha, and the pass with the outside of the foot took 5 players out, and Tinian was onside and makes it 2-1, 12 minutes to go. This is not very positive. Lee. Oh! 2-2. Super goal. Best goal of the game by a long way. He's just returning it into the box there with the header. Didn't really quite know what he wanted, but he did that time. Left foot, half volley, just in off the post. Magnificent goal. Well, time running out now, and it may well be that it'll be a point apiece. And indeed it is. 2-2.
3 minutes, United's travelling army must have feared the worst as Liverpool central defender Gary Gillespie glanced home from a corner. Newcastle hadn't won at Anfield in 38 years. The trend would surely continue. But Mirandinha soon gave notice that the Reds wouldn't have it all their own way this time. Liverpool must be sick of the sight of Dave Besant's giant frame. The hero of Wimbledon's fairy tale FA Cup success keeps Gillespie out here. Gillespie, though, was determined to add a second to his name. Playing a neat 1-2 with Ray Houghton, the big Scot shows impressive skill, but once again Besant denies him. He could just be the best £850,000 Newcastle ever spent. Besson's heroics proved crucial when, with half an hour gone, Michael O'Neill's superb pass puts John Hendry racing clear in the Liverpool box, and his shot carries too much pace for Hooper. The black and white hordes went wild with delight, and suddenly Newcastle's odds of 9-1 against a win looked good value. United, though, are always at their most vulnerable after scoring, and Besant had to produce a blinding save from Aldrich to keep his side level. Newcastle old boy Peter Beardsley, who claims in his autobiography that he was forced out of St James's Park, was determined to prove a point. The United keepers are made of strong stuff these days. The visitors could even have taken the lead just before the interval. Mirandinha dances a samba, and it's Hooper's turn to shine. Mirror's magic moment was yet to come, for with just 7 minutes left, Dave Besant's siege gun clearance finds Hendry. Gillespie couldn't resist a firm tug at his shirt inside the area, and referee Michael Peck pointed to the spot. Mirandinha against the Cop, and there could only be one winner, and the boy from Brazil milked it for all he was worth. Who can blame him? 2-1 to Newcastle, the final score, and a reprieve for Woodford Fall.
Special because he was at Newcastle for a little time. Funny enough, we weren't that proud of Jackie because he played it outside right, and he wasn't very popular for a while. And then they moved him to centre forward, and he scored 3 goals, and he took off.
He had this marvellous pace and power. I mean, people saw Malcolm McDonnell later on, but I mean, Jackie was just as fast as that and had probably played a better ball than Malcolm McDonnell. Jackie Milburn is one of the most exciting players anyone has ever seen.
And I knew Jackie, you see. I knew him. I knew what he was capable of, and he was fantastic. But when Jackie scored his 2 goals against Blackpool, the first one I remember, they tried to play offside and failed. And he was about 20 or 30 yards clear completely. And he even had time to look round to see if anybody was chasing him. You can't see anybody thinking like that these days, but eventually he just walked round the goalkeeper, not round the goalkeeper, but slotted it in quite easily. I remember that. And the next one was when he smashed the ball in from about 30 yards. No, it was a tremendous goal, and probably one of the greatest goals ever scored at a cup final.
When he centre forward that scored the goals was the glory man. He was the one. And when you saw him play, it was fantastic. His speed would go past people, and he shot. Terrific feet. 2 feet. Brilliant.
This was the golden era. Another cup win 12 months later, and then Milburn's historic fastest ever goal in the cup final against Manchester City completed 3 cup triumphs in 5 years. But the era was drawing to a close, and Jackie was to turn to less dramatic achievements, football management at Ipswich Town.
Jackie wouldn't be remembered for his managerial career. I don't want to be remembered for my managerial career. And our kid wouldn't want to be remembered for his managerial career. It's what you did on the field and what people remember, and so you do, and the memories have got of you that will live in people's memories in the northeast of Jack.
A new career opened up journalism, unlikely perhaps, but allowed Jackie to keep a first-hand watch on his beloved Newcastle United.
It's nice to see somebody in my old shirt, you know. There's been some good players in the number 9 shirt, and
you still got a bit of an itch in the feet at this time, though, do you?
I've got an itch now. I'm standing. I cannot wait for the match to start, quite honestly, Alan. But I mean, you hear and read a lot about we ourselves. We write and we tell the public things, and they're interested and they read. But I'll tell you this: the Geordie public make their own mind up.
He was the world's worst critic, because everyone was nice, you know. Everyone could play. He could criticise anyone. But some of us, from time to time, have to say, some people can play and others can't. Jack could never have been hurtful towards anybody.
2 great Geordie legends joined together, Bamburgh's and Newcastle centre forwards. Generations of goal scorers were reunited for the opening of a special number 9 bar, but they all had to give way to Milburn. But Jackie, modest as ever, was always hoping another local lad would emerge to take his place as the favourite of the Newcastle United faithful.
They've always had a number 9 up there, you know. Nobody's irreplaceable, Alistair. They'll come along with something. I only hope that the next one is a local lad. I want to see a local lad in a number 9 shirt. And there is 1 or 2.
There's been plenty of local lads here, though.
There's a stack. I can't understand why so many don't make the grade. Maybe it's the coaching these days, or maybe they're brainwashing the kids and losing their natural ability. I don't know what it is, but there's a hell of a lot of good kids around this area. There's no doubt about it.
Jackie's playing career may have long finished, but the stream of honours refused to dry up. In 1980, he received Newcastle's highest accolade, the Freedom of the City. He received it alongside another famous Tynesider, Cardinal Basil Hume. He could now graze his cattle on the town moor, and nobody could have been prouder. Still more tributes. Last year it was the Sword of Honour from the Sports Council, and the award was heralded with a traditional anthem for Jackie.
You just had to walk into Newcastle with Jack. Just walk through the town. I mean, I didn't even get recognised when I was with him. People say, hello, Jack, how are you doing? But they weren't talking to me. They were talking to Jack.
Well, I always recall how when Kevin Keegan was here, and I mean, Kevin Keegan was the sort of king of Tyneside at the time, if Kevin were signing autographs, the queue for Jackie would be bigger, and this is years after he played.
Only this summer, Cissy Charlton, the First Lady of the Milburn-Charlton soccer dynasty, opened Ashington's public tribute to its own royal family. Football had made War Jackie a legend and saved him from the life down the pit that he dreaded.
A dog shouldn't be allowed to walk down the pit. Now that we think of it, you know, the memories that you have, and there's some bad moments. And sometimes I wake up now with nightmares, really, for what happened down the pit with the falls and the pubs creaking, and you're in there by yourself, and it doesn't hit you till later life, you know, till you're old. And honestly, I have nightmares thinking about it.
He will be missed in the flesh, but he won't be missed in the sense that what he represented
Young
will live
Michael O'Neill
forever.
thought he chalked one off after just 12 minutes. But Dave Bassett has obviously taught Sheffield everything they need to know about the offside game, and there was plenty more of that to come as well. In fact, it wasn't till just before half-time that a little gloom lifted for Newcastle. The sunshine skills of Mirandinha created the chance, and a tidy finish from John Hendry, one of McFall's expensive close-season signings. Celebrating a goal really is more fun than chanting "sack the board." Within 30 seconds of the restart, the fans were positively enjoying the night out. A crisp build-up and the ever-threatening Mirandinha showed the true goal-scorer's composure to slot home Newcastle's second. Now it was a real game. There was to be no dramatic change in Newcastle fortunes yet. Mirandinha did his bit, but substitute John Robertson couldn't send the game into extra time. So, a triumph for the third division side, and a decent enough match brought applause at the end. If hope springs eternal anywhere, it's on the terraces of Newcastle United.
To bid farewell to a Tyneside legend. They came from all over the country to pay their last respects to Jackie Milburn, one of the most famous names in soccer history. Fans, both young and old, stood silent along the cortege route from War Jackie's hometown of Ashington to St Nicholas's Cathedral in the heart of the city. Steve Sutton was there.
For a time today, the centre of Newcastle virtually stood still as thousands of football fans paid their last respects to Jackie Milburn. War Jackie's ashes will finally be scattered over his beloved St James's Park, a fitting resting place for the greatest footballer the North East has produced. At St Nicholas's Cathedral in the city centre, mourners included Jackie's footballing contemporaries and members of his famous family. Fans who'd grown up with the Milburn legend clutched treasured souvenirs of the man they'd worshipped from the terraces.
When Jackie was in full flight, my God, that was some sight to see, you know. It's sad.
I'm from Ashington. We played for the Air Force Cadets one time. And I played on Portland Park against that lad. He was a nice lad. That was a long time ago. A long time ago.
Did you realise he was going to be good then?
Yeah.
It's a real sad day, yeah. It just brings a lump in your throat, you know. You cannot help it, you know. Marvellous player.
During the memorial service, the Vicar of Ashington, the Reverend Philip Benison, spoke of the other side of Jackie Milburn, the quiet, contented man who'd loved every minute of his life.
Betty, Jackie's daughter, spoke to a journalist doing a piece on the wages and salaries of footballing in Jackie's day compared with today, with the vast amounts which some people can earn. And Betty gently explained that her dad didn't envy today's stars at all. It didn't cross his mind. He had what he valued most. his family, and the place he wanted to be. Ashington with trusted friends, with love.
And football writer Doug Weatherall spoke of the player he'd worshipped on the pitch and admired in the press box.
I have to say it, but it's literally true that Newcastle United have never been the same setup since he and his marvellous colleagues of the 50s left St James Park. It has to be said too that the press boxes of the North East are just not the same without him. All right, Bonnie lad, would be the smiling greeting as we turned up at St James, Roker or Essen Parks.
During the service, the hymn synonymous with cup finals, Abide With Me, rang out, just as it had done when Jackie Milburn helped Newcastle to their 3 FA Cup wins in the 1950s. And later at Newcastle's crematorium, the floral tributes were displayed. And there was more praise from family, friends and former colleagues.
It makes you proud to be a Geordie, really, and to have been associated with the man for so many years in the good times. Although I'm sure there's generations been here today that never saw him, but the love for the man has been passed down through, and he's been idolised for so long that it's all been described for us today.
I've seen a lot of centre forwards from Hughie Gallagher right up to the present, and for me, Jackie Milburn was the greatest. He had speed, quickness to get into the open space, terrific shot on either foot, and a great temperament. He was really the greatest.
What are your memories of Jackie?
Chasing him. He always got past us. He was brilliant in the field, as Albert rightly says. A very, very good centre forward. We had good centre forwards in Middlesbrough, like Mickey Fenton.
He did, aye.
And people like Cloughie after me, George Camsell before me, but Jackie was in that bracket.
I've been lots of funerals, I must be honest, but nothing quite like this. And the only thing I really think, I think that people would like to have cheered rather than kept quiet. I know there's very respectful, but if you know Jackie Milburn and what sort of man he was, he would have been really proud, and they did him proud, he'd be pleased.
War Jackie Milburn, remembered today by his
Form
many
and highly
thousands of
organised. United, though, seemed inspired by the occasion, and Michael O'Neill so nearly gave them an early lead. Gary Pallister's cultured defensive play has won him international recognition. That didn't impress United striker John Hendry, who beat him before unleashing a shot that was too hot for Pears to handle. Bruce Rioch's young side controlled much of the first half, but possession counts for nothing without penetration. Dave Besson catches these in his sleep. Newcastle's breakthrough on the half hour came courtesy of an astonishing piece of misjudgment by Pallister. The header was perfectly placed into his own net. Minutes later, Borough should have levelled. Pallister headed the right way this time, and Bernie Slaven missed when it must have been easier to score. On the stroke of half-time, the visitors attacked again, but Stuart Ripley's shot on the turn from Burke's cross was just wide. Pallister and co still had 45 minutes to put the record straight, but ominously for Middlesbrough, the boy from Brazil was beginning to find his rhythm. Neither Mowbray nor Cooper could lay leather on Mirandinha here, and he was clearly in the mood to attempt the unexpected. 7 minutes after the restart came Mirror's first magic moment, a stunning 20-yarder from O'Neill's short free kick. Newcastle, unbelievably, were 2 up. It surely wouldn't last. After all, Middlesbrough had won their last 3 league games, but another glaring miss, this time by substitute Alan Kernahan, showed this wasn't to be their night. Newcastle, though, continued to keep Stephen Pears busy, as when Pallister and Parkinson failed to clear, and the impressive Hendry brought the best out of Borough's keeper. Pears was in action again soon after, but this time he couldn't keep the ball out. Mirandinha's pace left Mowbray and Pallister for dead. Pears blocked, but Mirror was up like a flash to poke home the rebound. 3-0, and Newcastle had rediscovered their lost Geordie pride. Pallister tried to make amends with his hopeful effort 3 minutes from time, but there was no way past Besant. The final scoreline surprised even the caretaker.
This is Mill taking on Cornwell. It's a terrific cross, and Besant matches Hugh's header with an important save at this stage of the game. The last thing Newcastle would want would be to concede an early goal. And Manchester United's rather patched up team making significant progress in that attack a moment ago, but now they have to defend against Mirandinha and company. Mirandinha's first goals in English football were against Manchester United at the start of last season. It's Brian Tinian to shoot, and it's against the post. It took a deflection. Mirandinha fastening onto the rebound. So chances at both ends. Laid off by Hendry. Just flicked through the wall, maybe deceived Leighton, who saw it happily from his viewpoint. Rebound off the post. There's room here for Garton. Oh, and what a gilt-edged chance for Brian McClure. Rods. Tinian has lost it. Garton off the post and followed in by McClure. Now, what's the referee going to make of this? To Besant's relief, it's not going to count, and down on the Manchester United bench, they can't believe it. Tinian was confused. Garton shot. Besant had it. It rolled away. Then the post. Yes, that was a foul. Besant had it.
On the plastic at Kenilworth Road. Luton 9 goals in the last 3 matches. Newcastle haven't scored for ages. Luton playing attacking football on the plastic, and Northern Ireland international Kingsley Black denied by a fine tip over from Dave Besant. This is Newcastle's best effort, a careful lob from Hendry. The result, though, a goalless draw, and Newcastle, would you believe it, now haven't scored for 9 hours.
The photographers at St James's Park soon had their trigger fingers working again to record Newcastle's first goal for 7 games, 588 minutes to be precise. John Hendry, the scorer. Well, Wimbledon hit back, aerial stuff. Andy Thorne and Dave Besant had handled it fine, but could do nothing to prevent Terry Gibson. 6th in 8 games, every bit as good as young Cloughie's. But Newcastle weren't to be denied their first win for 6 games to get the Jim Smith era of a flying start, and a really marvellous second goal by John Hendry. Willie McFall and Colin Suggett must be wondering why he didn't do that sort of thing for that.
Problem to Newcastle's one-pace defence. This Danny Wallace run and cross so nearly produced an early goal for Matthew Le Tissier. But with 8 minutes gone, United were in the lead. Danny's fullback brother Ray Wallace headed straight to Kevin Brock, whose opportunist shot was too good for Saints keeper Flowers. Brock's first Newcastle goal was soon cancelled out, though. Danny fed Rodney, yes, yet another Wallace, and Rod laid on the sort of chance Le Tissier just doesn't miss. If you thought United's rearguard was at fault there, what about the Le Tissier goal that gave Southampton the lead midway through the first half? Tinian, McCreary and Roeder all left floundering as the number 9 ploughs on regardless. 2-1 to the visitors, and worse was to follow 10 minutes after the interval. Wallace D set Wallace R away at speed, and United's chasing pack were never in serious contention. Worth a little shuffle, that one, Rodney. But Southampton's fans weren't dancing in the aisles for long. United boss Jim Smith brought off Mirandinha and sent on Michael O'Neill. This inspired substitution transformed the game. Tinian's cross created confusion and O'Neill pounced. Last season's goal-scoring sensation had got the scent again. The last 20 minutes were all Newcastle. Rob McDonald's bullet header was kept out by a brilliant Flowers save. And the Saints keeper again had to be at his best when Brock let fly. But with 2 minutes of normal time left, United was still trailing. Then Roeder's free kick was flicked on by McDonald for O'Neill to produce a superb finish. The super sub had done it again, and Newcastle were back from the dead. Incredibly, the Magpies could have won at the death. McDonald, now there's a name for a Newcastle striker, volleyed just over. Nice try, though. And with the final whistle seconds away, John Hendry again cleared the woodwork. 3-3, the final score. United off the bottom of Division 1 at last, and that should give them a real psychological boost.
At Newcastle, so's one of his new signings, Kevin Brock. His free kick, Rob McDonald, formerly of PSV Eindhoven, heading in the equaliser. or the winner coming up. Afterwards, the scorer, Michael O'Neill, said he knew precisely what he was doing, was always in control. Well, it's Christmas. I believe you, Michael.
Free kick, only 1.5 minutes gone. Inspired by Mirandinha on one of his good days, Newcastle might have had an early equaliser. But Glenn Roeder was thwarted by Tony Coton, who has a lot of good days. However, Kevin Brock, who's at his third club under manager Jim Smith, did equalise. His second goal for Newcastle since his transfer from Queen's Park Rangers. The rest was a tale of penalties. Nigel Gibbs couldn't complain too much at being found guilty of this one. Mirandinha happily drove home his first goal since October and made for the Newcastle fans to start the celebrations. Then Ray Ranson was adjudged to have handled at the other end. Well, these are never easy for referees. The question is, did Ranson deliberately handle, or was he trying to get his arm out of the way? The outcome, whatever the arguments, was an equaliser from the spot for Neil Redfern. And in extra time, Redfern came very close to his hat-trick, but the crossbar ensured a second replay at Newcastle.
Lamar anticipated a back pass. Only Mirandinha anticipated the kind of tricks the English weather can play. Conditions were awful and certainly contributed to Liverpool's first equaliser. Aldridge swivelling on his backside to find Rush. Unorthodox, but a goal in each of the last 3 games for Rushy. Newcastle went in front through Frank Pingle, the Dane. Liverpool don't concede many goals like that, to haircuts like that. But Liverpool have never lost a game in which Rush and Aldridge have started, honestly. Aldridge grabbing a point. Goals in each of the last 4 games
£3.5 for Steve Sedgley. Any more back passes like that, his price will plummet. John Hendry takes full advantage. Until then, early in the second half, Newcastle had really been on the rack. Well, last week we saw the Dane Frank Pingle scoring against Liverpool, and here back helping his hard-pressed defence. It's in at the wrong net. Newcastle, though, picked up their first win in 10 matches, thanks to Brian Kilcline. The hand obviously raised there as he goes up with Roeder, the referee, right on the spot. Protests from Coventry, but really no doubt at all it was handball, if you needed any confirmation. Well, Mirandinha's got his critics, but you'd back him 10 times out of 10 from the penalty spot. 3 points to Newcastle and a great boost in their fight to stay in the First Division.
Hello and welcome to Ayresome Park for a game that really is a soccer special. It's Middlesbrough against Newcastle United, the 82nd league meeting between these two great North East rivals. There's an all-ticket crowd of around 25,000 here. Only 2,500 of them have made the trip down the A19. That's all the tickets Newcastle were allocated. As for the Borough fans, they won't have forgotten the pasting they took at St James's Park back in October. Middlesbrough never got going that night. They even presented Newcastle with their opening goal, courtesy of Gary Pallister. After that, it was the Mirandinha show. First, he produced a scorching drive to make it 2-0. Next, he set off on one of his electrifying runs before bundling the ball in to complete United's first home win of the season. Well, the league table after yesterday's game shows that if Borough are desperate for revenge, then Newcastle are even more badly in need of the points. Victory today would take them within striking distance of safety. Middlesbrough have lost their last 2 games, but at Millwall on Tuesday, Bruce Rioch saw a much improved performance despite the 2-0 reverse. But he still recalls Mark Brennan to midfield in place of Alan Kernahan, and Mark Burke is also back as a substitute. For Newcastle, the man who did the damage in October is back in favour again as Mirandinha links up with Frank Pingle in United's new international strike force. New boy Gary Brazil is on the bench, so too John Anderson as Ray Ranson returns. And watch for Kenny Sansom to take on the sweeper's role. And you'll notice that both sets of teams are wearing black armbands this morning as a mark of respect for Joe Harvey, the former Newcastle United manager and captain who died at the weekend. Referee is David Scott from Burnley. So it's Middlesbrough get us underway, attacking the goal to our right. They trail in the Derby Stakes. They've won 28, Newcastle 31, 22 have been drawn. But Newcastle have only won 8 out of 40 at Ayresome Park. With me a man so well qualified to judge both teams. He's managed them both. Jack Charlton, now manager of the Republic of Ireland. Care to make a prediction on this one, Jack, as Mirandina straight away tries to sort something out? Mirandina still going here. And this is a bright start, at least for Newcastle, as Gary Hamilton gets the first tackle in.
Well, that was a lively beginning. Very, very lively beginning. Mirandina had a couple of opportunities to get away there, but he didn't make it. I've got a bit mixed loyalties in this game today. I've managed both teams. It's been 34 happy years here at Middlesbrough. But I think today I would like to see Newcastle win. They need the points.
And the free kick given for Newcastle. Hendry will have appalling memories of Ayresome Park. The last time he was here was for Bradford, when Middlesbrough sent them out of the playoffs. It's his goal at Coventry that set United on the right route. Now they have this free kick. Men have gone forward. Roeder's at the far post. Pingley got a little header to it there, and over the top. And Scott had gone up to help, and the obvious threat of Pingle there, Jack.
Yes, well, Pingle caused a lot of problems for Liverpool at St James's Park in the game we covered a couple of 3 weeks ago. And but I think he'll have a bit more difficulty with Mowbray today. He's going to obviously be picked up very closely, but he got a good header in there. He might have done better with it, actually.
Cooper's in space on the left. Yes, he picks him out. And he's got a few yards to move in. Brock has gone across. Cooper swings the cross. Ripley's on the end of it. And the first time bar a break. And maybe the new system they're operating at the back hadn't quite worked out that time. Cooper had a lot of space to move forward into and picked out Ripley. And Middlesbrough have won a corner kick. Gary Hamilton, only survivor from the last time the teams met at Ayresome Park. For Middlesbrough, that is, in '83, and he got the winger. Kerr. Brennan now. King for the shot, not really managing the power.
It's proving to be a very open game, this. Both teams have had a lot more room in midfield than I would have expected in a game of this. And they've had room to settle and play and knock the ball about and find good positions. Both teams. Very unusual in modern-day football.
Middlesbrough's ball. Parkinson will take it. Kerr. Ripley told McCreary if he can get the cross in. It's one for Tommy Wright to watch all the way through. Brennan's there, so too was Ray Ranson. Hamilton's made himself available. Cooper, Ripley, and Slaven! And great stop by Wright, it was straight at him. And Slaven had the chance then to put Middlesbrough into the lead, and may well feel he should have done.
I think Bernie Slaven will be kicking himself over this one. It was a good position right in the middle of the goals here. When you watch the cross come in, the ball bounces exactly right for him. And this is a header that he should have directed down, instead of which he directed it right at the goalkeeper. Loads of room to pick his spot and didn't do it.
Ripley deep. Pallister and Slaven offside. Nothing wrong with the finish though. And again, Slaven finds himself the man.
Nice little cross, this one in there. And when it gets knotted down here, Bernie Slaven hits us beautifully on the volley with his left foot. It should have been as positive in the finish he had earlier on in the game.
All very quiet on the Newcastle bench. Bobby Saxton there. Ripley. Brennan with the throw. Taking his time. Sansom. That's a corner kick. Expect the big men to come forward for Middlesbrough. Alistair, just you can see them moving up towards the near post. Mowbray will be at the far post. Mowbray attacking it. And there's appeals there for handball, I think. Alistair was appealing to the referee, who is having none of it. Corner kick comes over. And there it was Scott, I think, who got a touch to it, but the referee said that was not intentional.
You can't really give handballs when there are so many players jumping for balls round like that. Kevin Scott was pushed into the ball rather than actually played it.
And here's O'Brien in a good position, and he's tucked it away, and Newcastle have taken the lead. O'Brien really finishes so calmly there.
Middlesbrough got caught very, very square here, and O'Brien made a good run through midfield. He should have been picked up by Mowbray a lot quicker than he was, and it was allowed much too much time to spend on the ball. Middlesbrough got what they deserved there. A goal against from very, very bad defensive play.
Half an hour gone. It's Middlesbrough 0 and Newcastle United 1. And it's Liam O'Brien, the man who struggled to make it today with a stomach upset, and he's certainly sickened Middlesbrough. His first goal, and what a well-taken one too.
We said before that Mirandini is a good passer of the ball, and when he laid that ball through, it was an extremely good ball that he laid. Caught the Middlesbrough defence flat and square.
Parkinson, Davenport. Davenport turning well, past Roda, chips one in. Drifting away by Davenport. Got away from Roda well, though.
That's the first time we've seen Davenport in the game up till now. He did extremely well there. He held onto a ball and turned with it, and he shot, although it drifted away from the goalkeeper and wide of the far post. Could have really sneaked in. Just watch the way he turns and hits this one as he runs. And he wasn't that far away. From our position, it whistled probably 2 foot past the post. It's a good attempt.
Mirandini, who's gone off, and it's Gary Brazil who comes on. Mirandini got a knock then. So Gary Brazil, who had such an impressive debut since moving from Preston and Coventry, now on for Mirandini. Means he'll link up alongside Pingle. And it was touch and go, really, if Brazil started the game. Hendry, now Pingle, a bit of space. Brazil's alongside him. And Pallister had to close it down. Into the final seconds of the first half. And a very satisfactory 45 minutes for Newcastle, Jack.
Yes, I think they've just shaded the first half. They've competed well, they've chased hard, they've put the foot in, and they've scored a nice goal when Middlesbrough, whose 2 centre-backs for me today, have looked a little bit lethargic in their approach to the game.
And Newcastle have this corner as well. Scott is up there to aim at. Here comes Scott. It was Mowbray who got to it. And Scott pulled up for the foul.
I don't like to see things like that when centre-backs are being attacked by the opposing centre-back. They should be attacking the ball themselves, and Mowbray's not really attacking the ball as well as he's used to. He's a much stronger player than he's shown today.
There goes the half-time whistle, and Newcastle United in charge thanks to Liam O'Brien's goal on the half hour. Cleanly taken, his first for the club, and what a timely game to choose as well. Very satisfactory first 45 minutes then for the visitors. The half-time score, Middlesbrough 0, Newcastle United 1. So the Newcastle fans who decided to give up their Sunday lunch well pleased, I'd imagine, with the alternative entertainment. And a sunny day as well. What more could they ask for? Newcastle get the second half underway, leading by that Liam O'Brien goal. Middlesbrough only lost twice at home in the league, Norwich and Sheffield Wednesday, and they come to rely on their form here at Ayresome Park as the bedrock of their secure position in the First Division. And defeat for them really would bring them dangerously close to the relegation fight. I think there'll have been some stern words in the dressing room at half-time, in Middlesbrough's dressing room, that is, Jack.
Yes, I would have thought Bruce will have certainly had a go at his midfield and said, you've got to put your foot in a little bit earlier, and you've got to go a little bit harder, and you've got to get up and support your front players a little bit quicker and get an extra man in the box. And I shouldn't be a bit surprised if he says to Ripley, you stay on the right-hand side of the field instead of changing over to the left. Because you're coming on to Davy McCreary's good foot, and Davy's done a good job on the right, struggled a little bit when he was on the left.
Slaven to turn Roda, that's a crossing. Davenport knocked down. The whistle had gone. Brazil will touch back for Roda, who's looking to set Hendry away. Rather in the manner that he set Mirandinha away for that very early goal against Liverpool. Not that time, though. And Brock's won that. And Brock's on his own. Straight at Paul, he had Brazil who come up alongside him, but Brock doing well to create the opening.
He did well, Brock, there, but when he got into the position where he was about to shoot, if he had laid the ball right to his right, young Brazil was there completely on his own. It would have been an almost open goal for him.
So the number 9 held up, Paul Kerr comes off, and Mark Burke comes on. And he's got just under half an hour to make an impression. Paul Kerr being replaced in midfield.
It's quite interesting to look at the Newcastle midfield today. Middlesbrough's best play is when they build it up fairly slowly, good one-touch passing across midfield. But Newcastle have never let them settle there and have come out and competed in midfield instead of sitting back and waiting, which is paying them dividends.
Now Brazil looking for Pingle. And Parkinson just about finding Poole. Now Burke's first touch. He's a player who definitely can create openings and can put them away himself. What can he do here from Middlesbrough? And Slaven scores, and Burke played his part. A perfect substitution for Middlesbrough. It's 1-1 now, and Mark Burke does the trick.
Well, you wouldn't believe it. That's the first time Mark Burke's come on the field. He got free on the right. He crossed a beautiful ball into the box. This is one of the hazards you have when you play a man-to-man marker, that somebody has been allowed to stand free. Glenn Roder stood there with his arms in the air looking for an offside decision when he really should have picked up the player. And Newcastle got exactly what they deserved. The first bit of slack play they've had at the back, and it cost them a goal.
18 minutes into the second half then, and now it's Middlesbrough 1, Newcastle 1, and Bernie Slaven, his 12th goal of the season, but Mark Burke, really, what a contribution coming off the bench. His first run, and a perfect cross to provide the equaliser.
What we forgot to mention was what an extremely good header it was from Barry Slaven. That really was a great header when you're standing there and the ball's coming slowly to you. And he directed where he did. Tremendous header.
Those Middlesbrough fans have gone awfully quiet. Newcastle seeming to get a bit of a stranglehold on the game. But now they're up and jumping. And Parkinson and Ripley on the chase against McCreary. Davenport is in the middle, Slaven arriving as well. Still with Ripley. And it was behind both of them. And Davenport protests there the decision.
That was an excellent break there by Middlesbrough. Again, Ripley in a position where he could take on Davy McCreary, and he got the ball across, and it was very unlucky. It fitted right between the two Middlesbrough players who were going into the box. Bernie Slaven a yard too late getting there. Davenport already gone.
Roda. Alistair, that one falls for Pingle. Brazil Takes it up. Brock wins it. Not for long. Now Hamilton. Slaven. Chipped across for Davenport. Nice control. Roeder there. Still with Davenport. And it was Burke who was in there. He's really trying to have a major influence on this game, Mark Burke, and not far away there from giving Middlesbrough the lead.
Well, you'll see when he checks back Davenport on this ball, he clips it back. Burke comes in with a diving header, and I thought he should have scored, actually. It was a tremendously good position. He's on the 6-yard box, and he got a slight deflection on it when he really... just putting your head to the ball would have almost certainly been another goal for Middlesbrough.
Sanson. Newcastle taking the heat out of Middlesbrough again. It's for Scott. Hit deep towards Pingle. Well won by Pallister. And Brock now. Now Brock looking to go all the way. He was just forced out wide there when the angle really wasn't on for the shot. You could see he was looking all the time to try and get on target.
It's one of those positions where when you get into, you close the angle down on yourself when you take the ball away to the left. I thought he should have checked back on his right foot. There was a layback for him if you'd have seen it. But not a good position to take a shot from at that angle.
Sanson forward. Pingle picking that one off. Pallister. Brock. Sanson. Brock manages to find Ray Ranson. Can he provide the cross? Hendry gets it in as well. And Mowbray can afford to take no chances there.
That was one of those setups that Big Mowbray would be delighted to see it go for a corner kick. If he had been a half an inch out on that header, the ball had gone into the back of his net very, very quickly. It was a tremendous cross by Hendry.
Mowbray had one of those down at Millwall in midweek. He won't want another one here. Brock with the corner kick. Poole's come for it. Very calmly taken by Kevin Poole. Ripley. And McCreary gets the foot in again.
J.V. McCreary has certainly earned his break today. He's worked very, very hard. He's got a very, very difficult customer to handle, but he's done it extremely well.
Still, Newcastle have some danger to clear here. And the free kick. And away by Scott, once again jumping well. Brazil takes that one off Ripley. Can Newcastle create something here? This is Ray Ranson. Brazil still carrying on, and it scurries right across the face of the goal. Ended up neither one thing nor the other. And a really positive shot from Ray Ranson, nor quite the ball into the path of Gary Brazil.
When he plays this ball across here, really, if you look at where Pendry is on the far side, he really should have been coming across into that situation.
Roeder. Newcastle finishing with a flourish, or is it to be Middlesbrough? Davenport breaking now. Ripley's ahead of him. Burke has made a run. This is Mark Burke. Burke with a chance here, and fine save from Wright. And Burke really nearly did have a storybook contribution to this game. Came on to set up the equaliser, so nearly grabbed the winner as well.
It's a good build-up and a lovely ball to Burke. And a good shot. I think he might, if he had done it a bit quicker, taken the ball in maybe a yard or two more and committed the goalkeeper forward to him a little bit better.
Brennan with the corner. Away by Pingle. Ripley. And Wright did well to see that one and get down behind it. Ripley there on the edge of the 18-yard box, and his main objective was to keep the ball down. He
did very well here. You watch your shot. It comes through a tremendous amount of players here. And the goalkeeper did extremely well to see it. Look at that, it even took a ricochet. And it was going at great pace. Good shot by Ripley, better saved by the goalkeeper.
There goes the final whistle. It's honours even. Middlesbrough retrieving the position after O'Brien had given Newcastle the lead on the half hour. They seem to be having the control then, but Bernie Slaven it was after 63 minutes who hauled them back into the match and gave them the better of the remainder of the time. But Newcastle's little revival run still alive. Middlesbrough get a point from it as well. The 82nd derby match ends then honours even. Middlesbrough 1, Newcastle United 1. Well, that draw hasn't materially affected Newcastle's position at the bottom of the First Division. They're still 5 points behind Charlton Athletic and Queen's Park Rangers, but I have pulled back a point, I suppose. And with me now, the man who robbed them perhaps of 2 more, that's Bernie Slaven with that equaliser for Middlesbrough. More than relieved to see that one go in, I should think, Bernie, after that miss very early on.
Yeah, I was very relieved. I missed a better chance in the first half, but fortunately I got a goal and it was 1-1.
It was a bit of the old super substitution, wasn't it, with Mark Burke coming on? We can look at the goal now.
Mark Burke takes on the man well. Terrific ball in. And fortunately I got my head to it and I'm in the corner.
1 or 2 appeals for offside at the time?
Well, offside appeals, but the referee's the man that counts and he gave a goal.
Did you feel at that time that Newcastle were getting a grip on the game?
They were starting to take grip of the game and then Mark Burke came on and changed things. He's done that a few times this season, he did it again.
Now, you've seen Newcastle regularly throughout the season. Can you see the sort of job that Jim Smith has managed to do since he came there?
Well, I thought they struggled a little bit with a new system, playing Kenny Sanson at the back as a sweeper and picking man-to-man marking up. But they got a grip of it after about 5 or 10 minutes of the game when they got a hang of it, and they looked pretty solid, and they've got a pattern to their play now that they haven't really had all season. And yeah, I've got hopes that Newcastle might pull away yet.
You'll be pleased at least to have got 1 point out of the game, but you're obviously worried you don't want to get drawn into a relegation fight yourselves, do you?
Definitely not, no. I don't think we'll reach that. Hopefully we'll stay just below middle of the table and stay up this season. That'll be an achievement in itself.
So thanks very much to Bernie Slaven, the man that made sure it was honours even in this 82nd local derby. Let me just remind you that on March 11th we'll have another soccer special for you. That's in a couple of weekends' time, so make sure you look out for that one. But here at Erston Park, it's level pegging between these 2 great rivals, and a useful point there for Newcastle. Middlesbrough still trying to keep well out of trouble. Hope you've enjoyed the programme. We'll leave you with the 2 men that kept Middlesbrough and Newcastle level today. Bye-bye.
Saturday's ominous defeat by Queen's Park Rangers, United boss Jim Smith recalled Gary Kelly in goal, and the young Irishman responded with a string of fine saves, this one from Lee Chapman. Unbeaten in their previous 16 games, Forest poured on the early pressure, and Lady Luck was definitely on Newcastle's side when Neil Webb's double strike was denied by bar, then post. The crisis wasn't over when Terry Wilson latched onto the rebound, but Kelly's legs saved the day. Then controversy, Lee Chapman with the ball. Kevin Brock challenges, goes down, and referee Morton to United's horror points to the spot. Look closely and you'll see where Brock makes contact, a good 2 feet outside. We can all make mistakes, but such decisions are a matter of life or death right now for Newcastle. With Father Brian banished to the stands, young Nigel Clough hammered home his 15th goal of the season. 33 minutes gone and Forest 1-0 ahead. United, to their credit, never gave up, and their second-half equaliser came from the best move of the match. Brock was involved throughout, as was Liam O'Brien. The Forest defence was carved wide open, and Brock finished it off with a superb shot. 1-1 it stayed. There's hope for United yet.
Most likely to haul Newcastle back from the brink. The Brazilian's pace constantly spelled danger. United old boy Neil MacDonald cleared up here, but Mirror was not to be denied for long. From Kevin Brock's corner, first Andy Thorne had a go, then Kevin Scott. But it was Mirror whose sharp reactions were quick enough to steer the ball home. 19 minutes gone, Newcastle had the start they needed. and Mirror was in the mood to run rings around everyone. The same could hardly be said for Everton. With 2 cup finals their aim, they were hardly straining up the leash. This weak effort by Graham Sharp was a rare chance. Kevin Scott has to be one of Newcastle's real successes. Here he comes storming forward and sets Frank Pingle one-on-one with Neville Southall, but the Welsh international takes some beating. Mirror was still looking lively though. He's away from the defence again, and how Pingle didn't make this number 2, even the big Dane must still be working out. In the second half, Pingle was at it again. You can't fault Big Frank for effort, and this brave solo was only a foot or 2 away from hitting the highest notes. Everton's best chance emerged through the snowstorm, but Stuart McCall got the angles wrong, and Everton were about to be frozen out. It was that willing worker, John Hendry, who provided the telling cross for one of Newcastle's more unsung heroes. Liam O'Brien it was who turned immaculately and smashed the ball home with real venom. O'Brien deserved his reward, and the general relief was understandable. Newcastle could have extended their lead even further and helped their dreadful goal difference. But John Hendry couldn't keep his shot down from this opening. Finally, Mirandinha reminded everybody of his passing ability, splitting the defence here. But Hendry drifted just a little too wide to give himself any real chance with the shot. But by then, Newcastle were home and dry for their first home win in nearly 4 months.
Points from the Canaries, who played as if they'd recently run out of trill. It also happened to be one of Mirandinha's good days. His performance and 10th goal of the season personified the unpredictable nature of the occasion. Having learnt the Portuguese for pass it, Jim Smith has hammered the point home to his enigmatic Brazilian star, who was cleverly involved in the build-up to Liam O'Brien's clincher, his second of the week. 2-0, Newcastle.
Fans braved icy weather to pay tribute to Newcastle's Kenny Wharton. And thanks to the attendance, Kenny, who's been with Newcastle all his 10-year career, will make thousands of pounds from his testimonial year. It was a great night for memories, as Steve Sutton reports.
For those who can remember the past glories of North East football, last night was a real trip down memory lane. First out, Sunderland's cup-winning side of 1973 against a Newcastle team containing many of their 1974 cup-losing side. For the record, Sunderland won 3-2, but nobody was really counting. Nostalgia and a few laughs were the name of the game. The real business of the night was a star-filled match marking the return to St James's, albeit for just one game, of Kevin Keegan, who ended his career at Newcastle 5 years ago. They gathered to pay tribute to this player, Kenny Wharton, a loyal servant at Newcastle for the last 10 years. And make no mistake, testimonial or not, this was a game played with a true competitive edge. Old boy Chris Waddle opened the scoring. Newcastle, fielding almost a full-strength side, saw it as a useful workout. Danish striker Frank Pingle, short of league goals, would welcome a few more of these in the final few games of the season. Waddle and the other Newcastle star, Solt, Paul Gascoigne, turned in a dazzling display, as if to emphasise just what Newcastle was now missing. So 1-1 at half-time, and a chance for a quick word with Kevin Keegan. You wouldn't have turned out for just anybody, Kevin, so how special a player do you think Kenny is?
He's very special. I think he's Newcastle through and through. I played with him 2 years here. I know what he's like as a character, and that's why I came back. I don't play in these much anymore because there's no sense. I mean, I'm 38 years of age now, and you know I should know better at my age.
Into the second half, and it was Middlesbrough's Gary Pallister who put Waddle clean through to get his second. Not to be outdone, Mirandinha brought it level again soon afterwards. It may have been a friendly, but the 21,000 fans and the Brazilian certainly enjoyed that one. And at the end of it all, a thoroughly happy and slightly emotional Kenny Wharton. It's 21,000 almost on what, in fairness, was a very cold night.
Well,
how honoured are you at that?
Well, it was perishing. I mean, it took us a while to get going, to be honest with you. It was freezing.
So I mean, 21,000. I mean, any first division club in the country would be proud of that for a first division match. So I mean, I'm on the moon, and I'd really like to thank the supporters who did turn up.
Was it an emotional occasion out there?
It was. I must admit, there was a few tears coming off at the end. I mean, it's great to be appreciated by the supporters itself, and especially with being homegrown. But there was a few tears at the end.
Well done, Kenny Wharton.
Newcastle and Luton, who met at St James's Park, are the two clubs in the bottom three above West Ham. Newcastle goalkeeper Gary Kelly hesitating, and Kingsley Black hitting the side netting on a day when victory would be a huge prize for either side. A year ago, goals from Northern Ireland teenager Michael O'Neill pulled Newcastle clear of trouble, but he couldn't oblige this time. It was a tense match with so much at stake. One error could prove very expensive. And Luton's David Priest almost made it here, giving John Hendry a sight of the back pass. The St James's Park crowd desperate to see the ball in the Luton net. And coming up, the moment that really frustrated them, Mirandinha, normally so reliable, stabbing his shot wide. It was a draw which was of little use to either side.
Though on an afternoon of almost suffocating tedium, they probably wished they'd heeded pre-match calls for a boycott after all. Teddy Sheringham's spectacular volley illuminated an otherwise forgettable first half with a goal it scarcely deserved. That was the cue for a predictable reaction from the few among the Gallagher faithful who could stir themselves from their afternoon slumber to register one last defiant protest. Though even the pitch invasion was suitably half-hearted. At least Newcastle managed to salvage something from their last First Division appearance at St James's for a while, with a goal to remember. John Anderson lashing in a screamer to earn a share of the points. But moments like this have been all too rare for the Magpies' patient fans this season. I wonder how many will be back next year.